Hey, what's up, everybody? Time for another game theory, random trivia, knowledge, maybe video. If you like the videos, like, sub, silly, comment, share, support the channel if you can. I appreciate Super Chat, PayPal, Patreon, whatever. If you want, it helps. So, again, it's hard to kind of think of new shit to talk about since I've talked about so much stuff in games, but here's a curious example that I've always thought has kind of showed some sort of pre-planned sort of theory in Street Fighter Alpha that perhaps wasn't thought out quite a bit as much as it should have been. And it's the same in Alpha 2, which I think, I don't know, I guess I just didn't feel like fixing it in Alpha 2, but I do think there's a little bit of goodwill there, I think. So, first of all, let's pretend that Ken's roll doesn't exist, because Ken's roll is stupid. I don't know why they gave Ken a roll. It's such a stupid move. But, so if you know Hurricane Kicks in old school Street Fighter, right? If you think about Championship and Hyper Fighting, Ryu can Hurricane Kick through fireballs, right? But when he's actually spinning, it doesn't go through a fireball, unless it's like a Sonic Boom or a Yoga Flame, right? However, and then in Super Turbo, they got rid and Super Turbo, they got rid of it a little bit, and it can only go through the very first few frames, but it's hard to actually do it in legitimate neutral. But in Street Fighter Alpha, specifically for the Shoto versus Shoto matchup, because you can go through fireballs, let's say a Chun-Li fireball, but it doesn't hit Chun-Li anyway, which is curious because it still does it in Alpha 2, but it doesn't hit Chun-Li. Although a couple frames it can hit, but generally speaking, it doesn't hit if you go through a fireball. But in Alpha 1, they curiously made it so fireballs, once the Hurricane Kick is spinning, it goes through even a Shoto fireball, right? So long forward, show this right here, goes through the fireball, right? Okay. However, an interesting little caveat is if, say, you thought you did a bit of a hard read there and thought you were going to use a super fireball to beat the other person's fireball, or, and then they Hurricane Kick, well, guess what? It doesn't hit. They specifically, and it seemingly is only for this sort of situation, only for this, again, it's just kind of weird because it's like something that seems so very pre-planned. They just made Ryu's head just a little bit smaller. So in this situation, if you're trying to win in a fireball war, Shoto versus Shoto, and the other guy does his Hurricane Kick to go through your fireball, whatever, Hurricane Kick won't hit him, right? And then because of that, well, you can actually punish the guy. Very, very strange little instances. And then we go to another situation, say Ken, they made Ken. Of course, he has a fucking roll that's stupid, but Ken can also go through a fireball. And this gets to where potentially I wonder if this wasn't thought out as much. Like, you can see there's a little bit of a thought out goodwill there, you could say, but perhaps it wasn't quite thought out. So if we use an example like Ken here, Ken goes through a fireball, but, well, you can still punish him, which I think is good, to be honest with you. But boom, I can actually walk up and punish him. However, and again, let's show the super here right there, right? So I can still punish him, right? Because the hurt box is a little bit smaller. However, what we got to remember though is from this sort of neutral situation, we don't have to do a roundhouse Hurricane Kick, right? We can just do a medium. And so then you're safe. And the same thing with Ryu too. I can do super fireball. Oh, well, it's not like I get to punish you because we're going to both recover at about the same time. Now, I think this is where I showed there is like an exact frame when Ryu is recovering that they put the hurt box just a little bit that the Hurricane Kick can tag you, but it's very small. I don't even know if you can actually do that with Akuma or Ken. I know it does exist for Ryu, but another thing, since I don't know if I'd ever get to make a video about this, just the dumbness of how good Akuma is in Street Fighter Alpha 1. Again, I was talking about earlier that think about Championship and Hyper Fighting, Ryu can go through neutral with Hurricane Kicks a little bit. Not when he's totally spinning, but it's more of a neutral kind of tool, right? But then once we get to a game like, Super and Super Turbo, say in a situation like this where I'll do it with Akuma, he can go through the fireball like this, right? However, What you might not know is the move just has a shitload of priority too. Or big, huge hitbox, right? Anyway, I don't know, just a little random video game knowledge in case you didn't know. If you like the videos, like, sub, comment, share, support the channel in case if you want. I appreciate it. Thanks. The end.